So, for what felt like an eternity in AI time, basically a whole year, one of the most important thinkers in the field, Ilya Sutskever, just disappeared. He went completely dark. But now, he's back. And he didn't just show up, he came back with a whole new vision for where AI is headed. So the big question on everyone's mind is, what did he actually say? Well, let's get into it.
Now, to really get why his return is such a massive deal, you gotta rewind the clock a bit. Remember all that chaos at OpenAI back in late 2023? Well, right in the middle of it all, this one tweet from Mark Andreessen just exploded. It sparked a meme that, seriously, took over the entire AI world. What did Ilya see? Everybody was speculating, right? Like, what on earth could he have witnessed that was so mind-blowing it caused all that drama?
Okay, but fast forward to today, the thing is, that old mystery is kind of solved. The real question, the one that matters now, isn't about what he saw, it's about what he said. He finally gave his first big interview since all that went down, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack right here, right now.
All right, so the very first big idea that Ilya dropped on us deals with this massive problem in the AI models we have today. He has a great name for it, the jagged reality of AI. And honestly, it's a concept that really makes you stop and think.
So what exactly is jaggedness? Well, imagine this. You have an AI that can absolutely crush a PhD-level exam in quantum physics. Super impressive, right? But then you ask it to do something that feels like common sense, like, say, fix a tiny, simple bug in its own code, and it completely faceplants, maybe even breaks everything else in the process. It's this wild contrast. It's a certified genius in some things and a total klutz in others. That's jaggedness. And this chart really paints the picture, doesn't it? Look at that. You've got a model scoring a whopping 95% on these super complex PhD-level benchmarks. But then you look at its performance on what we'd call common sense tasks, and it just plummets. We're talking a complete nosedive. That is the jagged edge of AI in a nutshell.
And you know, Ilya's analogy for this is just perfect. He says today's AI models are like a student who crammed for 10,000 hours just to pass a test. They've memorized everything through sheer brute force. So yeah, they can pass the exam, but have they actually learned the material? Do they understand the core concepts? Nope. They don't really know how to learn.
Okay, so this whole jaggedness problem, it leads us directly into his second major point. Because if our current way of building AI has this fundamental flaw, well, maybe we've been climbing the wrong ladder all this time. And this brings us to his pretty bold theory about the end of the scaling era. For the last 5 years, really, the name of the game in AI has been one word: scaling. You know the drill. Got a problem you can't solve? Just build a bigger model. Throw more data at it, throw more compute at it, and hey, it's a recipe that's worked wonders, giving us some truly incredible results. But here's the thing. Ilya is basically saying that party is over. He argues we're hitting a wall. We're running out of good data to train on, and just making things bigger isn't giving us the same leaps forward. We are, in his view, entering a whole new era where clever ideas are going to be way more important than just raw brute force power. And, I mean, just look at how inefficiently these systems learn compared to us. Think about it. A teenager can learn to drive a car with what? Maybe 10 hours of actual practice? But a self-driving AI? It needs to run through millions, sometimes even billions of miles in a simulation to get to that same level. The gap in learning efficiency is it's absolutely massive.
So this brings us to one of the biggest questions in all of AI research right now. What is the missing piece of the puzzle here? What's the secret sauce that explains this incredible gap in learning speed? You know, what makes biological learning, our learning, so ridiculously fast and efficient? Seriously, what do you think it is? I'd genuinely love to hear your theories on this, so drop them in the comments below.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Ilya doesn't just pose this question, he flat out claims he knows the answer. He says he's discovered this missing principle. But, and here's the kicker, he's not telling us what it is. Not yet anyway. He just hints that it's the entire foundation of his brand new company, Safe Superintelligence.
So right when you think we're deep in the weeds of computer science, Ilya throws a total curveball. It's this philosophical idea that might just be a clue to his thinking. He says emotions are the value function, not decoration. What does that mean? It means they're not just some fluffy human add-on. He thinks they're a fundamental, essential part of what makes intelligence work.
And to make his point, he tells this incredible story about a patient who, after an injury, lost his ability to process emotions. Now, his logic was perfectly intact. You could give him a complex puzzle and he'd solve it no problem. But he couldn't make a simple decision. He gets stuck for hours trying to decide which pair of socks to wear. And this proves a crucial point. Emotions are what guide us. They're what tell our brains, okay, you've analyzed enough, it's time to just act. They literally drive action.
Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. You take the problem of jaggedness, the idea that the scaling era is ending, this mysterious secret learning principle he's holding on to, and this deep insight about the role of emotions, and what you get is Ilya's brand new vision for how we actually build AGI.
And the key takeaway here is that the goal itself has completely changed. We're not trying to build some finished, all-knowing oracle that has all the answers from day one. Instead, the real goal is to build a superintelligent learner. Think of it less like an ancient wise god and more like a brilliant 15-year-old who's just unbelievably good at learning new things incredibly fast. And he even lays out a 3-step path to get there. It's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, you deploy this learner out into the world. Step 2, you let it learn on the job, actually helping real people solve real problems. And then, Step 3, this is the really cool part, you take everything learned by thousands of these individual AIs and merge all that knowledge back into one single, constantly improving model.
So what about the timeline for all this? Well, he puts the window somewhere between 5 and 20 years. That's when he believes we could have AI systems that learn as efficiently as a human. And from there, they would very quickly surpass us. Now, yeah, 5 to 20 years is a pretty wide range, but let's be real, the fact that he's even putting 5 years on the table is a massive statement.
But for Ilya, this whole thing isn't just about the technology. It goes deeper. It's about the philosophy behind the research. When he was asked what separates a good idea in AI from a truly great one, his answer was so interesting. He just said, there's no room for ugliness. The best, most powerful ideas, he believes, are simple. They're beautiful. They're elegant. They just feel right from every possible angle you look at them.
And really, that's the core question his whole interview leaves us with. Is the future of AI just about building bigger and bigger models, more scaling? Or is the next giant leap forward going to come from one of these simple, beautiful, and maybe even secret new ideas? What do you think is the path forward? Let me know your take in the comments. I'm really curious.